Man, you guys, President Trump just posted this photo on Truth Social. It's of him wearing a very get down to business kind of hat. And on the side is a sign that says FAFO, meaning F around and find out. That's exactly what Colombia demonstrated as their socialist president, as Trump calls him, is already caving to our president. You see, they initially refused to accept flights of migrants being deported from the United States. So what did President Trump do? He threatened steep economic and diplomatic sanctions. And just 2 hours after he posted online about his intention to impose a 25% tariff on Colombian imports and an immediate visa revocation for government officials, Colombia caved in, and they said that they're going to take their people back. In other news, Ben & Jerry's just released a video talking about how they're going to be fighting against a whole lot of causes that are near and dear to Trump's heart. In short, they've basically declared war against the current administration, not to mention the 77 million Americans who voted for what Trump stands for. And yeah, people are already calling for a Ben & Jerry's boycott over this. I looked it up. Now, apparently, this isn't the first time that the ice cream company has faced criticism for their radically progressive ways. In fact, multinational conglomerate Unilever, the owner of some 400 brands, even decided to separate itself as a parent from the ice cream company. So will Ben & Jerry's face the same fate as Colombia? Now, that would certainly be something worth watching. Now, one thing is for sure, we can definitely count on President Trump being more visible to the people. Even Politico's own White House reporters wrote about the stark contrast between the invisible and shielded former President Joe Biden and the omnipresent President Donald Trump. One reporter referred to Trump's pressers as a free-for-all for journalists after 4 years of begging for access to the more cloistered Biden. And yeah, so far, I don't regret my vote one bit. I'm glad that there is finally someone in charge with a spine, you know what I mean? But just look at what happened with Colombia and their president surrendering to our president with their tails tucked between their legs. Check this out.
Immigration was the biggest issue in this campaign, maybe outside of men competing against women in sports, which was very underrated as far as being an issue, and the economy as well. So, look, we have laws. We have to enforce them. 2/3 of the American people, according to like CNN polls, support mass deportation. So get on board or, roll the dice and take your chances, Lisa.
And speaking of getting on board, Colombia has quickly changed its tune as far as allowing migrant flights back in.
Well, yeah, and President Trump gets knocked a lot for his use of tariffs, but this is where it comes in, right? You need that leverage over them to get them to acquiesce. It worked with Colombia. He threatened a 25% tariff on Colombia's imports. And so it worked for him. And we've seen things like there was a Department of Homeland Security intelligence report that Maduro's Maduro regime was releasing prisoners from Venezuela that were coming here via caravans as well. So how many of these countries are going to want to take back, terrorists, gang members, criminals? So you have to have some means to force them to do so. And it has an impact as well. I mean, we even saw at the end of November that Mexico's peso and Canada's dollar dropped after President Trump threatened them with tariffs to get them to step up on illegal immigration. We saw the use of tariffs work during his first administration as well, when he threatened Mexico, and then they all of a sudden decided to step up to the plate. So I think he's using it very wisely, and today demonstrated that with Colombia.
I gotta say, it's just kind of crazy just how their own people don't want them back, but they expect us to keep them. Am I right, guys? Like, what's up with that? But yeah, President Trump, he was not having any of that. You see, Colombian President Gustavo Petro initially prevented 2 U.S. military aircraft full of their citizens from landing in their country. Can you imagine? Like, these U.S. military aircrafts are coming back to their country with their people, and they're like, nah, y'all can't land here. They were complaining about all sorts of things, like how their citizens have gotten off of the deportation flights in handcuffs, and that the U.S. forces are not treating their citizens well. Well, if they're being mistreated so much, like, why don't they just take their citizens back so that they can treat them better, right? Duh. Because why would they come to us if they're being treated so well in their own country? You know what I mean? Like, that only makes sense. So yeah, not even 2 hours after Trump announced his plans to retaliate against Colombia, Petro, he released a letter offering his presidential plane to facilitate the dignified return of the compatriots who were to arrive in the country this morning from deportation flights. Otherwise, he would have to face our president and his tough on immigration administration. You see, Trump already announced on his Truth Social account that he's imposing a 25% tariff on all goods coming from Colombia, and the punishment will rise to 50% in 1 week's time. And as Secretary of State Marco Rubio said in his own statement, it is the responsibility of each nation to take back their citizens who are legally present in the United States in a serious and expeditious manner. Colombian President Petro had authorized flights and provided all needed authorizations, and then canceled his authorization when the planes were in the air. So, as demonstrated by today's actions, Rubio says that they are unwavering in their commitment to end illegal immigration and bolster America's border security. And not just that, guys. Along with the tariffs, Trump announced a travel ban and immediate visa revocations on Colombian government officials and all allies and supporters. He said that all party members, family members, and supporters of the Colombian government also will face visa sanctions. As a result, the White House confirmed that Colombia's president had caved to all of President Trump's terms, including the unrestricted acceptance of all illegal aliens from Colombia returned from the United States, including on U.S. military aircraft without limitation or delay. You can be sure he's not done yet either. Trump signed approximately 10 executive orders related to illegal immigration and the migrant border crisis on his first week back in the Oval Office. In his first moments back, President Trump already declared a national emergency at the southern border. And not only that, guys, there were also plans to send 10,000 active duty troops to the border as he directed the Defense Department to take full operational control of addressing the national security crisis. And he has the full support of his administration and Congress backing him on this. For one, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection said that it was taking decisive measures, including enhanced inspections of flights, private aircrafts, and cargo to and from Colombia, denying boarding to flagged visa holders and enforcing the travel ban on Colombian officials with DOS coordination. And while Petro and Trump were having their little back and forth, House Speaker Mike Johnson, he weighed in on social media and he warned that Colombia and all nations should be on notice. And as he said here, Congress is fully prepared to pass sanctions and other measures against those that do not fully cooperate or follow through on requirements to accept their citizens who are illegally in the United States. President Trump, he's putting America first, just like he said he would. And Congress will implement policies that reinforce this agenda. You see how effective our government can be when our leaders are working toward like a common goal here, fighting against a common enemy? Now, that's what I'm talking about. Drop a quick yes in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you guys agree. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Totally appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for sharing this video. I really appreciate the support, you guys. One company that we really need to watch out for during this next 4 years, Ben & Jerry's. The ice cream company took a stand on social media and they basically declared war on all things right. Politically right, that is. So here, check this out.
Stick to ice cream. Not gonna lie, we get this one a lot.
Yeah, we're in the ice cream business, but we've always been about much more than just ice cream. We use our power, our privilege, our platform, and our relationship with our fans to advocate for progressive social change. So no, we're not just going to stick to ice cream.
And we're never going to stop trying to dismantle white supremacy, end the climate crisis, or fight for our democracy.
And no, we're not going to stop fighting laws that restrict trans rights, ban books, and roll back abortion protections.
Caring about that stuff, doing something about it, and supporting communities who've been directly impacted by it is part of our DNA, and it has been since we opened up our first scoop shop in Burlington, Vermont back in 1978.
Ben & Jerry were two best friends who love making ice cream. But for them, the only reason to be in business was to do business differently.
Whether we're working with activists in St. Louis to close a racist and inhumane jail, or working to restore the right to vote for people who were formerly incarcerated in Florida, or turning up a delicious new flavor in support of refugee rights in the UK, being an activist company is who we are.
And we know our fans wouldn't want it any other way. Because while we love making the best possible ice cream in the best possible way, the world needs more than just great ice cream.
We don't pretend to always know the answers, but we partner with and take the lead from activists and allies who do. And we hope you'll join us in taking action to support them. That's just who we are and who we've been for 45 years, and that's why we'll never.
Now, I read the comments. People are basically saying how the company basically just kind of came out as evil. Others are saying that we should boycott them. Me personally, I got to say, I really did like their ice cream, but now I'm like, ugh. I guess Breyers it is, or maybe Brewster's. I don't know. But man, do they feel like they are the center of the universe with this liberal grandstanding and showboating that they're doing? I mean, like, guys, let me know in the comments. Is this even their place to do this? Like, they're a freaking ice cream company. Like, what are they doing here? But this is why I wasn't really surprised when I found out that their parent company, Unilever, even chose to spin off its ice cream, including Ben & Jerry's. Now, according to this article, by shredding the progressive ice cream brand, Unilever is ridding itself of a long-time headache. Since its founding in 1978, Ben & Jerry's has pretty much been known for its left-leaning advocacy, and the Vermont-based ice cream maker was able to maintain an independent board of directors to continue its progressive activism even after it sold to Unilever in 2000. The biggest lightning rod began back in July 2021 when Ben & Jerry's announced that it would no longer sell its products to Israelis in the West Bank, which the company refers to as an occupied Palestinian territory. They definitely caught a lot of flack from both the right and the left for that one. They said that the company was boycotting Israel as part of the boycott, divest, sanctions, BDS movement. Israel threatened to take action against Unilever over the move, and U.S. lawmakers called on the Securities and Exchange Commission to launch a probe into the parent company. Ben & Jerry's was also hit with its own boycott threat after the company angered some Americans on Independence Day with a post on Twitter that read, "This 4th of July, it's high time we recognize that the United States exists on stolen indigenous land and commit to returning it." It's not just people boycotting the company and its parent. Several U.S. states have divested their public employee retirement funds from Unilever over Ben & Jerry's ending sales of its products in parts of Israel, including Arizona, Florida, Illinois, New Jersey, New York, Texas, and most recently, North Carolina. Man, I can't wait till Trump gets wind of this and lets loose on woke companies like Ben & Jerry's, right? What about you guys? In fact, if you haven't already, I highly recommend sharing this video with like-minded patriots. That way we can get more visibility to our videos, and the easier it'll be for someone from, Trump's circle to see this. You know what I mean? All you got to do is hit the share button right there, guys. But what else can I say? Like, it's just really frustrating to finally see some action getting done in the White House. Even White House reporters commented on how Trump's huge media presence is a change compared to the more muted Biden years. As Political reporters said in their article about it, the bigger flex for Trump was to contrast his accessibility, aptitude, and activity with his predecessor, who was so often shielded from public view by aides wary of showcasing the 82-year-old's growing limitations. They also pointed out how, as fast as the movers changed out the White House furniture, the country went from an invisible president, unable to command the spotlight, to an omnipresent one who wants the public's attention at all times. Just recently, Trump held a 20-minute gaggle with reporters on Air Force One, where he discussed a plane load of topics like TikTok and Greenland. He also took a dig at the predecessor by telling reporters that they have a little bit more access than they did with Biden by like 5,000%. And man, are we loving every minute of it, right? Do you guys agree? Let me know your thoughts on this one. Are you guys feeling the Trump difference in his first week back in office? Just drop a quick yes or no in the comments down below. Let's make a conversation out of it. More on this and all the news that matters to you guys here. Appreciate you guys being subscribed. Oh, and if you want more news right now, then all you got to do is wait for the suggested video that's about to pop up here on a second. I promise you these videos are well worth your time, just like this one that's about to pop up here. And of course, appreciate y'all hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next time.